Okay, today's lesson is powers and exponents. It's from 5-1A. And most of this is just a review. I'm just going to quickly review some things to remember about exponents and powers. So for instance, if you have the expression 4 times 4 times 4 times 4, and remember the dots mean multiplication. We don't really use the x's anymore. If you have the expression 4 times 4 times 4 times 4, and you wanted to write it as a power, which means a base and an exponent, the base is 4 because that's what you're multiplying. The exponent is 4 because you multiplied it 4 times. So it would be 4 to the 4th power. Okay? Say you had 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Then the base would be 3, and you multiplied it 5 times. So the exponent would be 5. So it would be 3 to the 5th power. Okay? And you can also use this with variables. Say you had a variable, x, and you multiplied the x. Then your base would be x, and your exponent would be 3, because you multiplied it 3 times. So it'd be x to the 3rd power. Okay, it's very simple. I'm going to do some different examples. If you have a negative number, say you have negative 2, right? Your base would be negative 2, and you put it in parentheses because it's negative, and you multiplied it 4 times. So that would be negative 2 to the 4th power. Okay? That would be negative 2 to the 4th power. Let's do some more examples. Okay? Let's say you have, let's do a fraction. You can have 2/5 times 2/5, and that equals 2/5 to the 2nd power, or squared. See how the whole fraction is in parentheses to the 2nd power because the whole fraction is being multiplied 2 times. So let's do another fraction, a negative. Let's say you have negative 1/4 times negative 1/4. Sometimes I write the dot, sometimes I don't. If it's in parentheses, you really don't have to write the dot. If you want to, you can, but you don't have to. As long as it has parentheses, you don't have to write the dot. So negative 1/4 times negative 1/4 would be negative 1/4 squared. Okay? Let's solve one of these. So say I have, let's do 2/5 squared. If I have 2/5 squared, I solve it by doing 2/5 times 2/5, right? Because 2/5 is the base, and I'm multiplying it 2 times. Okay, so I would get 2 times 2 is 4, 5 times 5 is 25. That's my final answer, 4/25. That's what I get when I do 2/5 squared, 4/25. Okay, let's do another example. Let's say I have 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 3. How would I write that as a power? I have 3 2's, so you're going to group them. How many 2's do you have? So you put a 2 as your base. Let me do it in a different color so it stands out. You have 2 as your base, and there's 3 2's, so the exponent is 3. And then you have 3 3's, so you have a 3 as your base, and there's 3 of them. So the 3 is the exponent. So that's the final answer. That's how you write it. 2 to the third power, 3 to the third power, and that's it. Okay, let's try another one like that. Say I have 4 times 2 times 4 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 4. That's a long one, right? So first, let's group them together. How many 4s do I have? 1, 2, 3. So I have 3 4s. I have 3 4s. How many 2s do I have? 1, 2. So I have 2 2s. How many 3s do I have? 1, 2. So I have 2 3s. And usually we put them in order. So put the 2 first, then the 3, then the 4. So that's my final answer. 2 to the second power, 3 to the second power, 4 to the third power. That's all you have to do. You count how many you have, and you just write it with the base and the exponent. Okay? Let's try one with the variable. Okay? With the variable, let's say we have R times S times S times R times R times X times S times S. That's a lot, right? Let's say we have all of that. First, let's count one by one. How many R's do I have? 1, 2, 3. So I have R to the third power, right? How many S's do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. S to the fourth power. And how many X's do I have? Just one. And you're done. See? You don't have to write the 1. You just write the actual variable. Okay? Let's try some with fractions and variables. Let's say you have 1/2 times P times K times 1/2 times P times P times K. Let's see what we get. You always do the numbers first. So how many 1/2s do you have? You have 2. So you put it in parentheses, put it to the second power. There's 2 1/2s. How many P's do you have? 1, 2, 3. And you have 2 K's. So you get 1/2 squared P cubed K squared. And that's it for that. What else do we need to see? Oh, I know what we can do. Okay. Let's say you have X times X times Y times X times Y, right? And let's see if we write that as a power, there's 3 X's, 2 Y's. Okay, so it'll be X to the third power Y squared. Now, what if we had to solve this? What if they said solve this expression solve this expression if x equals 2 and y equals 1. Let's solve it. So if x equals 2, that means you would get 2 to the third power, right? Because x is 2. And 1 to the second power, or squared, right? Because y equals 1. So all I did was plug in these numbers where the variables were. I plugged in the 2 for x, and I plugged in the 1 for y. 2 to the third power, that's 2 times 2 times 2. 1 squared is 1 times 1. You could just multiply it all together because this is all multiplication. So when you multiply it all out, 2 times 2 times 2 times 1, you get 8. Final answer. Okay, I know this is in the light, but there's actually a 1 right there. Multiplication and a 1. Okay. Let's see. Do I want to go any further? Let's do one more. Let's say we have, oh, I need to do two more actually. Let's say you have 3 squared plus 2 to the fourth power. You know you have to do order of operations to solve this, right? So please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Okay, so what comes first? You have exponents and addition. Exponents come first. So 3 squared is 3 times 3. 3 times 3, right? That gives you 9. 2 to the fourth power is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. And that gives you 16. Then you add, and you get 25. Okay, so that's how you solve that. And there's one more type I want to show you, and that's with the same kind of problem but with variables. What if you have y squared over x to the sixth power? You know this is division, and they tell you that x equals 2 and y equals 10. So how do you solve it? You have to plug the numbers in. If x equals 2, that means you're going to have 2 to the sixth power on the bottom because x equals 2. So you got to put the 2 right here. Y equals 10, so you're going to have 10 to the second power. Okay? Then you just do the math. 10 to the second power is 10 times 10 over 2 to the 6 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 6 2's. Okay? And I just wrote it like that because I didn't want to run out of space going straight across. 10 times 10 is 100. 2 to the 6th is 4, 16, 32, 64. 64. Okay? So your final answer is 10 over 64. And we can simplify that by dividing by 2. And we get 5 over 32. Okay? Just making sure that's completely simplified. Yeah. Okay. No. See, I knew something was wrong. This is 100. 10 times 10 is 100. Right? Not 10. 10 times 10 is 100. So this simplifies to 25 over 16. 25 over 16. You can leave it like that. We don't need to change it to a mixed number. That's fine. So just make sure you don't do what I did. or actually do what I did, check your work, because you can make a mistake. 10 times 10 is 100. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 64. Plus, you're doing it with a calculator, so you hopefully won't make that mistake. And you get 25/16 as your final answer.